Okay. Good afternoon again. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. My name is Charlie White and I am one of the education consultants here at Just2Easy. I am joined today by one of our fantastic teachers who is using the Just2Easy tool suite, Jenny Smith, a teacher from Northern Ireland, and she's going to be talking to you as well today about her experience with using a parent portal and j2journal, which is what we're going to be focusing on this session. So a couple of things, this session is going to be recorded, it's being recorded. So if you, after having watched it, if you want to watch back, check any little bits that will be available after the session, probably on our YouTube channel, Just2Easy TV. So the session today, we're going to start with a bit of an overview of what is involved in our parent communication tools. We're going to hear from Jenny, our teacher voice for today. We are going to then walk through, first of all, how you can connect parents to their children within Just2Easy and what that looks like. Then we're going to look at an introduction to j2journal, which is the newest tool that you have available to you as part of the Just2Easy tool suite. And within that, we're going to think about setting up a journal and adding content. And I'll walk you through that and how that works. Organising and sharing work within a journal, commenting and the moderation of those comments, and using j2journal for gathering evidence. I think I'm going to go okay. So before I move on to that too much, just going to give a brief introduction. So as part of the Just2Easy tool suite, you have lots and lots of different tools available to you, hopefully many of them that you have discovered. And on the one side of the tool suite, you have all of the tools that your children are using to create content and to do things in your classroom. So things like JIT and J2Create, you may already be using lots and lots in your classroom. But then on the other side of the tool suite, we have a set of tools that are there that have been designed to support teachers, and specifically with what we're looking at today, to support that communication between home and school. And we have the tool, which is the parent portal, which is kind of like an umbrella tool for a few other tools that we have in the suite. So we have included in that an instant messaging tool, we have a homework setting tool, we have STARS, which is for like digital rewards, and then we have our newest tool and one of the main focuses of today, which is j2journal, which is for creating digital portfolios of learning for children. Now, the things that I'm going to show you today can do an awful lot of different things, but what's really important to note before we go any further is to say that they can all be configured to work exactly how you would like them to work for your school. There are a number of settings that I'm going to show you as we go along that will allow you to turn on or off any parts that you think that wouldn't suit our school so well, and just use the parts that work for you. Some of our schools like to use everything that we offer. Some of our schools like to pick and choose a few bits that work for them and turning other bits off. And we have a lot of very detailed settings that allow you to configure these tools to work exactly how you'd like them to work. And we will look at those as we go through, but just to say, especially as you hear Jenny talking about how she's using the tools, you don't have to use all of this in your classroom. You use the bits that work for you. And yeah, so without further ado, I will move on. We'll move on, and Jenny is going to talk to you about how the benefit and the impact she has found from using these tools in her classroom for building those relationships with parents. So I'm going to just stop sharing my screen for 10 minutes or so and say, welcome, Jenny. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Charlie. So I'm just going to share a wee bit about what's been going well for me, and I think later on in the session, kind of where we started, we're well down the road now of using lots of the different programs within the Just Too Easy. And as Charlie mentioned before, there's some things that work for us, and there's also other things that just aren't working right now that we're not at the stage for. So we've configured those settings with their help, and hope to build on those as we move forward. I suppose within the Parent Portal app, where we were was we were using numerous different apps to contact parents, to set homework, to send out news bulletins. So we found with the Just So Easy, it was kind of like a one-stop shop. There was the option for messaging, as Charlie mentioned. There was the option for posting homework, and then just more recently there in the last year, the j2journal, which has been a fabulous new feature, we think so far. So with the messaging, we found it was great because the teachers can have the access to message just your class, but also I know for myself, I take after schools with older children, and I can send messages out to them parents rather than having to go to that teacher and ask the teacher just to send the direct message. So you have your own access, and then you can turn off, as Charlie mentioned, the option for the parents to message back if you don't need that, which was great. Another thing within the parent portal, which was great, was the digital leaders. So we were able to set up like our own groups. So we have a group of digital leaders who range from Key Stage 1 to Key Stage 2, and they have their own messaging chat, which is also connected to their parents. So if they have a piece of homework, as well as their own in-class stuff, that is sent out to the parents as well. But I suppose the ease of access of swapping between each child. So if there was numerous children in a family, they're all able to use the one app. So they can click in and out of each profile, which is great because you don't have that option of having to log out and enter a code again, and you have lost them. If it was our experience, that's where they were going, no, give me back to the piece of paper. So now with that option of just clicking in and out of each other profile, it's been very beneficial. And then the homework program within the parent portal as well. The children or the parents are able to see their children's homework as well. We used to print out, everything went out on a Monday, and those pages flying everywhere, and some left underneath desks and some lying in the corridor, and it was messages going, I have no homework. So now what we do on a Monday, each class is different. On a Monday, I teach primary 3, and I set the homework to go out on a Monday. I organise it on a Friday and just schedule it to post on the Monday afternoon. And it's all there. It also, there's children that go to childminders and all after school, and the parents are able to either just screenshot and send that through to the childminder if they do their homework there. So it's great that way, and both parents can log on to it if needed, as well as you can set like sometimes we get like the likes of the top marks games, and you can attach that to the homework task and video links, and then tasks within Just So Easy. The library is very beneficial because it's all on the one app. They're not asked to go through their My School login or through a different platform to complete a homework. It's all within the same for the parent, same for the child. And then the stars as well. I'm not sure if Charlie touched on that today, or maybe that's another day. We use it as a behaviour management within school, and then you can also see that positive reinforcement then at home, because they can see what their child has been given a star from today, or maybe possibly if they've lost a star, maybe why have you lost a star, and you can work on it. So it's that communication between home and school, which we needed. I think we were using emails and all before, and it just wasn't working. There was just too many things everywhere. But I'm just wrote a few notes down for journals so I don't get sidetracked. But the journal feature has been great. So we were, I suppose, using Just So Easy as our platform for ICT tasks, literacy, numeracy, and thing across the board. And that wasn't being shared at home because their books went home at the end of the year, but you might have completed a fantastic piece of work and it was online. And then unless you were sending maybe a printout of the QR code home, that wasn't, they weren't able to share their own learning. And they're so excited about being online, like, you know, how creative they are. So now the children have their own option that they can post to the journal. It's kind of like a newsfeed, nearly like a Facebook or a Twitter post, but based on your class. And if they created a piece of work that they would love to share at home, they can post to it. But then also as a teacher, maybe I want to review it first. I'm just not happy that there's anything being posted at home. If I didn't see a piece, I can have that option of reviewing it, and maybe ask them to fix something before it's sent home. So that has been a great tool. It also lets us have that exchange within the 5Es. Exchange was maybe one of the harder things that we found to try and hit, because yes, we were exchanging orally about work, but there was nothing being done digitally. So now when they post their work, I'll share my screen now and have a wee glance through, but they're able to comment on each other's work and leave a little voice recording with each other. So I'll just share my screen here. Hopefully that should work for us. Can you see that, Charlie?
That's all good.
Yeah, all good. Okay, so this is one that I have set up just for my class. I can access through the other ones just by here. But I use it, I suppose, as a both digital work and kind of a whole class update as a whole, because we have children within the class who aren't allowed photographs posted on social media, but because this is secure within just our class, the parents are happy for their work and their pictures to be shared within this, as it's not going to the wider world. So that was another great benefit, because we have numerous children, you know, coming through that the parents aren't happy with everything to be shared. So this is within a safe feed. So that was just like examples of their numeracy, and I just put a wee blurb underneath what they're doing, and then they can also extend that learning then at home, because you're showing the parent what they've done in school, and then to have a go at home. We're in the Word project that we took part in, so most of it was school based, and then we shared our celebration with our parents at home, and the children can then have a chat about other things that's happening, you know, rather than just their homework task. You can see where their homework task links within their schoolwork, if it's posted on here, and the parents are more willing to have a go. We found beforehand it was kind of just a standalone homework going home, and there was maybe some homeworks not being returned. And I know more so up the school, a few of the teachers were saying the likes of multiplying and dividing, where parents maybe aren't so sure of the correct method to do, that they were being posted on here and then they're followed up at home. So that was a great way, a visual way of that they can learn. Another way that I love about it is it's a digital portfolio. So for child, say with SEN, that you want, that we have to gather all their evidence of, just take a photo or save the work to get them to post it on, and it's all saved under their own files within it. Am I right in saying that, Charlie? Yeah, saved within. You can access each child's folder, which I'll show you now in a minute. Here is just where I was talking about. You have that option to exchange, so they can leave a comment, and Killian has left a little voice recording on things that they've done. They made weather dictionaries, and then I can leave my own feedback as well for them, which is great. I think I flew through that and I probably forgot to mention something today. Yes, sorry, I was mentioning there about you can create each of their own files. So if I just go in and click Killian, for example, anything that I tagged Killian in for the post will come up under his thing. So you can create a post for each child. It doesn't have to be as a whole class. So your post saying that likes of Killian, it only goes to his parents if he's the only one tagged in that post, which is great, because there's tasks or targets maybe that they're working on that maybe the whole class isn't working on, and you have that personal link to share their learning, and then parents at home can extend it and have a view, and you can also see who's viewed it. So if you click on here, which is great, because you can see who's interacting with you, and maybe then others that maybe needed that wee bit of encouragement. But it's the simple link, I suppose, having everything under the one app. You know, you're not having to ask them to complete a piece of homework, post it to a journal, and then log into another app and check the homework, and then log into maybe something else and having to message the teacher. It's all within the one. So the children is using the same app that the parents are using, and that's that continuity across all, which is great. And there is my phone ringing. I'm so sorry. But yeah, have I not covered anything, or is there anything you want me to do, Charlie?
That was all absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, Jenny. We will hear a little bit more from Jenny later, but that was so interesting to hear about all the benefits that you found. So hopefully, if I now go through in a little bit more detail how you can set that up. It should just give you that little bit of context, hopefully, as to how you might use that in your classroom. So thank you again. I'm going to share my screen now again. And we're just going to go into some of these details a little bit more. So, as hopefully you've kind of got the idea now, the parent portal was designed to give parents a window into their child's learning. The technical features of that is that parents can view the parent portal in a browser. That's how I'm going to show it to you shortly, or by downloading an app. If parents download the app, they have the option for things like push notifications. You can see in these images here, they can get little pop-up notifications as and when something has been added about their child if they download the app. Teachers have control, as we've said several times, and can switch on and off different elements of the portal to suit their school. I think, okay, so yeah, so the first thing that you need to do as a teacher is to sign up parents, to connect parents with their children. Now, I will add before this that the journal can be used, which is going to be where we're going to come to next. The journal can be used on its own without connecting parents. So if you are just intending to use j2journal as a way of collecting evidence for you as a teacher, you can just kind of ignore this next bit. This next bit is always what you need to do if you want to connect your parents, if you want to be using the parent portal. And parents can be signed up either manually or via a QR code. When a parent is signed up, they will be sent some simple instructions to register. This is just the first time they are connected with a child. So the first time a child is connected with them, they will have to register for their own Just2Easy account. When subsequent children are connected with them, because as Jenny said, we can connect multiple children to a single parent account and it's viewed in the same app or on the same browser, they wouldn't have to register again. They'd already be registered. They would just be connected. So as a teacher, to begin this process, I'm going to need to go to the teachers area, which is where you now can find the dashboard. This is like the back end of Just2Easy. So first of all, in here, a lot of those settings that we've been discussing today can be found on the left. This is if you want to control the settings on a whole school basis, and we can find settings for various different things. And I suggest the very first thing that you do after this webinar, if you are wanting to set these up, is to go and have a good look at these settings and think about how you want these tools to work in your school. So particularly we're looking here, do you want the parent portal to be active? So do you want parents to be able to connect? And within that you have some settings about message, and here we have some settings about journal. So do we want the parents to be able to view the journal at all? Do we want the parents to be able to comment on a journal, or to be able to create journal entries? So obviously if I turn off them being able to view the journal at all, that's going to automatically turn off the others. But if they can view the journal, I can decide whether or not I want them to comment or to create the journal. And as I said, this is going to be on a whole school basis. If you have those all switched on, and when we get to the journal, I'll show you, it is then possible to configure some of these settings on a class by class or a journal by journal basis. But this is the first place to start. So when you go into the dashboard on the first page, here are your settings, and you just need to decide for your school what is going to work for you. So if I've decided I want to have the parent portal active, I then need to go along within the dashboard to the Parents and Carers tab. And you can see I've got a drop-down list here to choose from the different classes. So I'm going to choose P1, that is my demo class. And you can see in this table that I've already got some parents connected to some of the children in my class. So I'm connected to Rosie here. And the first option I have for connecting parents is to manually invite parents. Now, this way takes a little bit longer, but it gives the teachers the most control out of all the options, because if you have to click invite parents next to a particular child, and you're going to type in their email address here, and invite them. If I invite, let's add myself to Lydia here. So I'm going to add my email address and click invite. Now, I have already created a Just2Easy account, of course. So when I show you my parent portal app, you will now see that I've been connected with Lydia there. If I was brand new, I would simply have to follow some instructions that are sent to me by email from Just2Easy. This is not something you have to do as a teacher, to set up my account before I could be connected. So that's one way that we can connect parents with their children. There is an easier way, and if your school and your local authority are happy for you to use this, then you can create QR codes. So I've selected my class, I've got my class selected, and I've clicked to create a QR code. Now, all this QR code is going to do is what I've just done by manually typing in the email address. So if I scan one of these QR codes, I will be either connected with that child or sent the information to register to then connect with that child. So it just shortens that process for you as a teacher. Now, some schools they are quite happy to send those QR codes home in the book bag with the child. Parent scans, or multiple parents at home scan the QR code and are connected with that child. We do have some schools that prefer not to send the QR code, or are not allowed to send the QR codes home, that have still managed to find a way to use the QR codes because they have either displayed the QR codes on a board outside the classroom at pickup time, so they can watch the parents come along and scan the child, or even more, if they wanted even more control, they've gone for an event like a parent evening, for instance, and literally shown the QR code to the parent and had them scan it in front of them. So there are different ways that you can use those QR codes, and they are just a bit quicker and simpler for you as a teacher to connect the parents. Now, what I will say is that at any time, you can disconnect a parent. So if for any reason you no longer want a parent to be connected with a child, or if a parent has been mistakenly connected with a child, you can click on this red X and they will be immediately disconnected from that child. So you as a teacher always remain in control. So that, I think, is about I've talked you through now how to connect the parent. So what I'm going to just do now is show you my parent portal. So I have logged into my parent portal with my email address and my password, and this is parent.j2e.com. The app looks virtually exactly the same. It's just an app on my phone. It can be Apple or Android. And you can see on this first screen, I am connected with 3 children. If I refresh that now, I'm connected with 4 children. That's Lydia, who I just connected with by entering my email address a moment ago. And if I click on Rosie, who tends to be my demo pupil, you can see I have all of my settings pretty much open. So this is one of these things that you don't have to give parents access to all of these things. I'm just going to show you what it's capable of doing. So I can see that Rosie has 1 homework task that's been set for her. And if I click on this here, I can find out more about it. We're not going to look into homework, J2 homework today, but it's just to let you know that it's there. There are lots of videos and webinars available on Just2Easy TV on YouTube if you'd like to find out more about J2 homework. Similarly, I can see any stars she's been given. She hasn't been awarded any stars this week, but I can see she has previously been awarded stars for various different things. I can see the dates, who gave her those stars. Again, we're not going to look into any detail at that today, but just to say parents can have access to see those stars if you would like them to. If you don't, you can turn it off in the dashboard. We also have an instant messaging tool. So if any messages that have been sent, if you want to have this part enabled, would appear here also. And then what we're going to be looking at in a bit more detail next is j2journal, and I can have access to that as a parent again, as long as that's what you'd like as a teacher. So that's the parent portal side of things. Before showing you much more of the journal here, I'm going to go back and we'll look at j2journal in a bit more depth. So let's move on to the next page. I don't think In fact, I tell you what, before we move on, I will just come back and say, if you wanted to just take a minute to just have a look where that is, or if you have any questions about the parent portal side of things before we move on to journal, I'll just open that up for a minute now. Otherwise, we'll move on. So I'll just give you a minute or two. If anybody wants to ask any questions, you can either unmute yourself or pop them in the chat. I'll stop sharing for a second. And if you just want to just have a quick look at where that sits within your dashboard, which can be found in the teachers area, do that now. And any questions, let me know. We'll carry on in just a minute or two.
We've just had a question from schools migrating from Seesaw to this. What's the feedback from parents? I think it's fair to say that the feedback from parents is universally positive. We made a pledge to schools almost 2 years ago now that that anything that Seesaw does, we will ensure that the j2journal and parent portal do as well. And we have had feedback from schools over the last couple of years. We had a lot to start with 2 years ago, and we've incorporated those thoughts and that feedback into the journal. So it's a it's a relatively mature product now, and the feedback we get is universally positive. Jenny, I don't know if your school was using Seesaw at all before you started. You're on mute, Jenny.
Sorry, that's me now. We were actually a mix between, we were using Seesaw down the school for foundation, nursery to P2, and then using other platforms within. And I was down the school when we used Seesaw, and for me, yes, it was great, but it was a standalone one. Like, we weren't using that in school. The children weren't being taught how to use that platform. So why were we asking children to use a different platform at home than learning? And then I wasn't also able to share any learning that was being done in school, any tasks home, because it was being done as me as a teacher. You know, the children had no empowerment over that. So now when we moved to Just Too Easy and having the whole parent portal thing, it has been great, because that's the first thing the parents say, oh, I've heard all about the piece of work, especially the project that we were doing there with the ebook. And I says, oh yeah, must post that to the journal. And they're straight away and looking at it, and they're saying it's great to be able to have that all under the one, that the children's able to show the parent, you know, this is how to do it, because they know how to use the platform, rather than having one platform for home, one platform for school. And the skills, you know, are transferable. So once they know how to use it on this, they will be able to use other ones. But definitely, the feedback has been good. They're happy that everything's under one roof as such, rather than that swap it about on different platforms.
Thank you so much, both of you. I will. Thank you for clarifying. What is the contract run length with CTK schools in Northern Ireland?
Okay, so I'll pick that one up again. So the currently the we're part of the C2K contract through till August, but C2K are just talking to us about extending that and becoming part of the EDIS platform long term, and we've had very good indications. We haven't had that contract signed just yet, but that's imminent in the next couple of weeks, and we've had very good indications that J2E is seen as part of EDIS going forward. So although I can't give you a cast iron guarantee, I think it's a near certainty that we're part of the C2K EDIS solution going forward long term, and similarly, I guess we've got people on board from Wales and Scotland, and again we're looking at sort of long term solutions with those countries. So yeah.
Okay, lovely. So I'll move on, and I've allowed plenty of time at the end for any more questions that you might have. So no problems there. I'm going to share my screen again. And we're going to move on to have a look at the journal, j2journal itself. So j2journal forms part of the parent portal, although, as I said, simply by switching off that tick in the dashboard that we saw before, we can disconnect it from parents and just use it independently. It works in exactly the same way, but parents wouldn't be able to see it or wouldn't be notified. So you can be using that either way. And it allows you to create a digital portfolio of learning for your class that can then be shared with parents. You can sort work within the journal by tagging children and adding folders, and parents can leave comments and also add entries to the journal, but they have to be moderated by you first. When not connected to the parent portal, j2journal can also be used to gather evidence, so just to collect that information and that learning for you as a teacher. So again, we have the settings within the dashboard, so that we looked at before. But now if we come into journal, j2journal itself, there it is. We can see here on the first page, I can see the journals for my whole school here. So the way that it's designed is to create a journal for a class. Now that might be a registration class, or it might be a teaching class. It is possible to set up journals for small groups by creating a new teaching class to do that, and I'll show you that towards the end of the demonstration. Now, this is my demonstration journal. It's not going to be as lovely as the one that you've just been looking at of Jenny's, but just to kind of give you a bit of an explanation of it. So it will show all of the work when I first enter it for all the children in my class, with the most recent at the top. We can add work that has been created in Just2Easy. We can add text-based entries. We can add work that has been created in other programs as a link, and we can add work that has been created non-digitally, so we can add photographs or multimedia of work also. On the left-hand side of the journal, we have a number of filters. So Jenny showed you how you can filter to show the work of a particular user. But you can also add folders. So you can see I've added a number of folders here, and if I click on one of those, I can see any work that has been added to art and design. I can filter by date, although in my demo journal that doesn't work quite as well, but you can see I have the option to add to search by a date range or show anything. Let's just see if I show what was created this month, because I'm not always regularly adding. There you go. So we've got a few entries in there. Okay, and down at the bottom here is my review panel. This is where anything that needs to be moderated is going to go, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But we'll just do a walkthrough of how we're going to create a new journal and add some new learning to show you how that's done. So first of all, we click New Journal. And we select the class for which we'd like to create a new journal. And as I said, that can be one of the green registration classes, or it can be one of the purple teaching classes. For those of you who don't know, within Just2Easy, every user is sorted into an individual registration class. If you are a school in Northern Ireland, all that information comes to us from CTK. If you're a school in Wales, it's coming to us through Hub. But manually, you are able to create and add teaching classes, and users can be in as many teaching classes as you'd like them to be. So they can be in a class for their maths group, or a class for a special needs group, or whatever it is, however it is you want to sort. If there's a reason that you want to create a journal for a smaller group of children, I think Jenny was talking about her digital leaders, you can create that teaching class and you'll be able to create a journal for it. For today, I'll use my P1 class. We're going to give it a name. It's going to assume I might want to call it the name of the class, but for today, we'll just call that P1 March. And you can see here I have two settings. So I showed you where the settings were for on a whole school basis. This is the settings for this particular journal I'm going to set up. So I've got to think, do I want the parents to be able to create journal entries, and do I want them to be able to comment on a journal? So I'm going to leave those as yes for today. You would not be able to tick those if they were turned off at a whole school level, obviously. and then I'm going to click create. And I'm now into my new journal. It's got nothing in it at the moment, so we're going to add some learning. So I'm going to click either of these new plus buttons here. And I tend to start by adding a file. Now, j2journal supports a wide range of files that can be added, so we can upload directly from our computers. We can add a link. We can record straight into the journal. So if your children are doing something really wonderful right in front of you, you can record that, assuming you're on a device that has the functionality, and record that straight into j2journal. Or you can access things from your personal Just2Easy My files or from your pupils files, and that's what we're going to do for now. So I'm going to go into Rosie. Oh, let's go back. Go into Rosie, and I can choose any of the files that she has created. So if we take this piece of writing here, for instance, and click OK. And all of these bits are optional, so I don't have to add a file at all if I don't want to. I can add a title and a description if I would like to. Let's just call this Rosie's writing. And I'll just pop independent work in my description for now. And I'm going to go ahead and click next in the bottom right-hand corner. Now this step is probably the most important step, because what I'm going to do now is tick all of the children who were involved in that piece of work. So I can tick as many children as I like. I could tick the whole class. I could select the whole class like so. But for this piece of work, we'll just tick Rosie. Now I can either create from here, or I could click next and add a new folder if I wanted to, or add that work into an existing folder. Obviously this is a brand new journal, so I don't have any. So I'm going to create a folder called Writing. I'll make that green. And I'm going to select that I'd like that piece of work to go in my writing folder. Now I'm going to create that piece of work. And there it is. Now, I have just received a notification on my phone to say that a new entry has been published to the journal for Rosie, because I am connected as her parent. If we go back to my parent account now, and I am going to go back into the journal, and there's that piece of work that's just been published for Rosie. As a parent, I only see the work that has been created by Rosie, and if she was involved in a piece of work with other children, I will see that there were other children involved. But unlike from my teaching account, where I could click on this and see who that was, as a parent, I can't see who that is. I just know that she was working with a group, and that's all the information I have. What I can do as a parent, as long as it's been enabled, is to add a comment. So let's say, great writing, Rosie, and send that. You can see it's been added, but it's pending. So if I come back into my teaching account now and refresh this, I've now got a notification next to my review, and I have to approve that before it appears on the journal. Similarly, if a parent wants to add a piece of work to the journal, or if a child wants to add a piece of work to the journal, that would appear in that moderation panel down here. Children can add work to the journal. They can either do that via their journal tile. The main difference is they will only be able to add to journals that they are a part of. So there's no way of adding to a journal they're not involved in. And the other thing to briefly show you is that work can be added to the journal directly from some of our tools, so JIT and J2 Create. If I just open up an example, let's come into Animate. This is a bit like, for any of you who might have ever published to Webby, it works a bit like that. So if I open up this animation here, you can see I have this journal button here, and I can select which journal, or put it in this test journal. Now, and it takes me to that page. So we can go through there, we could say all pupils were involved, and we could add that to the journal. If I was doing that from a child's account, again, it would come into that review panel, and I would have to review that. So you can let your children take a lot of control of this. I had a teacher say to me at some training recently that actually they were teaching P7, I think, or year 6, and they were going to let their children take full control of using the journal. And they said on a Friday afternoon, I'll ask them to choose their favourite piece of work from the week and publish it to the journal. Now, obviously, he was really in control because he could, has to review everything. There's no option not to do that. But it took all of the, it gave the children the ownership. So it made it their journal. It was the work that they wanted to share. And all he had to do was check he was happy with that to be published. So made his life easier, but gave children that real sense of empowerment to share what they wanted to with the journal. So I'm just going to check my list, and I think that's about everything. The other thing, I suppose, just to say is I referenced it earlier, but if you wanted to create a journal for a smaller group of children, you would need to go to the dashboard again, and you're going to come to classes, and there's a plus button there, and you're going to create a new teaching class. So you'll give that a name and add the children that you'd like to. So if we just call this test class, I pressed something wrong there, didn't I? And well, you do it for here, look. And then once I've done that, I can add children to that test class. Select view children and click OK. And now I've got that test class with those children in, I could create a journal for that test class, just like I just showed you before. So although it's designed primarily to create a journal for a class, and obviously you can put folders within that, we can create journals for smaller groups of children by simply creating a new teaching class first. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen there, and I'm going to, before we go to questions, I'm going to hand back over to Jenny and ask if you could just tell us a little bit about what the rollout of these tools looked in your school, because I appreciate, obviously, for teachers who are not using these tools already, or maybe using another platform, it might feel a bit daunting to think about switching. And obviously we try to make it as easy, and we try to be as supportive as we possibly can. But if you could tell us a little bit about your experience of that, hopefully that will be helpful.
Yeah, so I suppose teacher confidence is the biggest thing. Whenever we talked about rolling this out at the start, it was the fear for some people, just the fear of something new and changing it. But what we decided to do then was we done one class. So I had the training in it, and we all took part in the training, and then we used my class kind of as the guinea pig class, and we rolled it out, added all the parents, and we used the QR code the way that Charlie showed you, and we found it was very easy, because all they had to do was scan the QR code, and Just Easy took them through the rest of it, and that was them signed up straight away. And then I was able to see who was linked in, and I rolled out with that for about a month. Posted homework just initially on the Monday, and just asked people to submit homework at the end of the week, just so I could see that there was that engagement coming from home. And then the next month I went with messaging, because it was then they were used to the app, they were used to logging and checking it, and the messaging was quite straightforward, because the parents were able to message me, and we configured our settings so that the parents aren't able to message all teachers, because there were some teachers going, oh, well, such and such might message me just for God knows what. So we started with just messaging teachers, and we have stuck with that way. But as a teacher, then we can message any of the parents, and then we can change the settings if we need them to reply with anything. Then after that, we went for the whole school rollout. Tried had a staff training with the teachers, and just demoed it within that. And there's the option to message within staff. So we had to go to that. I think if I just screen share, hopefully if I'm still open, I'll just show you that. I think that could have been a year or two ago. So just had to go asking everybody to reply in it, so that they were confident that they knew where to go to within their school. So here I can message all parents. So if there was anything I wanted the whole school to go out, I can click there, or if I click here, I can send a message to all the children. And then that was where I talked about staff no messages. Oh, maybe I deleted those, can't remember. That was a couple of years ago. We started it that way, and once then we were in that, we had the children connected up and went from there. Then we had a drop-in session whenever we had about a month. We let a month roll where we had sent all the QR codes out and we could see how many were signed up, and then we had a drop-in session for anybody that was having an issue getting signed up. Some people just teething problems at the very beginning, but mostly straightforward, to be really honest. As I said, Just So Easy took part of that as soon as we sent the QR code home, and there was a link online that they could watch a video of how they can set up their notifications should they want to be notified when there's a message being sent out or a new entry to the journal, etc. And the drop-in session was great. We only done it for about a half an hour one morning, drop off before school, and the parents could just call in if there was anything. And I have to say, Charlie and Mary and Nikki and all of them at Just So Easy have been great if there was any problems, which I don't believe we had at the very beginning. Yes, you'll always have a problem at the very beginning. Maybe it was a case of just connecting another parent that I didn't know the answer to. Within a couple of minutes, the girls were replying, and we got it quickly sorted. So I suppose the support from the Just So Easy end really helped with the rollout of it. But no, it was quite stress-free, sorry, should I say. I didn't think it would be at the start. Whenever you're going for a whole school, it's like, wow. But no, it was quite good. I have to say it was easy enough.
Thank you very much. I left myself on mute there for a second. Thanks, Jenny. That's brilliant. That's really helpful to hear. Hopefully that will have answered a lot of questions that people might have. And I think I'm just going to share my screen one more time. We're about towards the end of what we've got to share today. I'm just going to finish up by saying a huge thank you for joining us today. We'll be around for the next sort of 10 minutes for questions that anybody might have. If when you leave today you suddenly think of any questions, you have any more, not sure about something, there are a number of things you can do. First of all, you can check out our brand new teachers area, which is this green tile here. We're starting to kind of migrate everything into here that you're going to need as a teacher. So we have a big area for getting started with lots of videos, lots of information depending on where you're coming from. You've got the dashboard and the help tile in here. You can now book 15-minute video calls with any of the ed team at kind of a day's notice or even less sometimes, and you can just chat to us kind of on a Teams call or Google Meet, I think it is, that way. But we also have access to other things that might help you, and our help area is in there too, as is a link to our YouTube channel. And between the two of those, we have lots and lots of videos and articles that can help you with any of these things with getting started. I've just been in the middle of creating a series of videos all about the kind of little things that you can do in j2journal. And so that would be your first place to start. You can also contact us if you get stuck, if you're having a technical query, support at j2e.com, or if you are having a if you've got a kind of question about the teaching of it and the implementation, you'd be welcome to email the ed team at j2e.com. And if you are on any of the following social media channels, please do give us a follow. We're often sharing future training and events and videos for things that you might find helpful. And the very last thing I have to say is we also have fairly recently set up a Facebook community for Just So Easy teachers. If you scan the QR code, you'll be taken to that now, where our teachers have the opportunity to share ideas, but we often share events. We ran an exclusive competition just before Christmas and things like that as well. So if you would be interested, if you're using Facebook at all, please do scan that QR code now and join the group. I'll leave that there for just a little bit longer and then say I'll open the floor for up to the next 10 minutes for any questions that you might have. But otherwise, thank you again so much for joining us today. I hope you found it helpful, and any questions, do get in touch.
I'll just say very, very briefly, I answered some questions and I didn't introduce myself. So I'm Danny Young, I'm the Managing Director at Just2Easy. And I just want to make a bold pledge to everyone on the call today. We've done this for hundreds of schools across Northern Ireland and Scotland, and I know we've got quite a few colleagues from Wales joining us today. Lovely to have you on this call now that the journal's been added into the offering, the Just2Easy offering for Welsh schools. That's wonderful. So the same pledge that I've made to hundreds of schools. If you are currently using Seesaw and you move over to the journal and you find there's anything that that you were doing in Seesaw that you can't do in the journal or that you want to do, let us know and we'll put it in. We've been doing bits and pieces on that over the last couple of years. I think we're pretty well there now. But if you find anything and you say, well, you know, we could do that in Seesaw and it's not there yet in Journal, let us know and we'll put it in. We're determined to make sure that we're as good and actually better than Seesaw as a solution. Are colleagues able to unmute, Charlie? I think we've got people typing. I don't know if it's possible for them to unmute and talk if they want to, or is that tricky? Or maybe most of the typing was just saying thank you, which is nice. Right, okay, we've got a question there about the number of resources in the library.
I was muted. So I can see from the question, is it they rely on Seesaw activities for lessons, are the plans to expand? So there are currently over 2,000 resources in the Just2Easy library that have been largely created by myself and my colleagues at Just2Easy. We do add library resources very regularly for different events and days. Equally, just like the Seesaw library, it is a community library and teachers can add their own resources to the library. But yes, it's constantly evolving, constantly getting new resources. And if there's something in particular your staff feel like is missing, you'd be very welcome to contact us. We do love a library resource making day. So if anybody comes to us and says, you don't have any resources on whatever topic it is that you're about to do, we'll put them in there. We really take pride in making sure that our resources are really quality and that they're exactly the kind of resources that we would look for in our classroom. So yes, there might not be as many resources in there as Seesaw, but they are constantly being added to, and I hope that you would find that all of the resources there are really high quality. But yeah, as I said, anything in particular they're looking for, just let us know. If there's something that they feel like isn't there, we'll be happy to add those things for you.
Is the P Nicole? I don't know if you're able to unmute. It would be quite nice to just have a very quick chat and see if there are particular resources in Seesaw that you've been using that you want adding. We had a really good look at the Seesaw resources, and we found an awful lot that really were of very poor quality. There is obviously some better ones in there. Won't let me unmute. Charlie, is it possible to?
I'm going to try again, Danny. I don't know why. Okay. Right, I have allowed yours. I don't know how to allow everybody. So if anybody in particular would like, in fact, I'll just go through and allow anybody's mic that would like to. Hello.
Ah, okay. Hi there. Nice to talk rather than type.
No, I think that my skill is very embedded in Seesaw, and it would be they're spending an awful lot of money on the licenses for it, so it doesn't make any sense for us to continue to do that. It seems like they're spending money when they don't need to spend money. The lower skill foundation stage and Key Stage 1 very heavily rely on Seesaw activities for their active play and their play-based learning and things like that, and just to have to take that away from them is causing a little bit of distress in the.
Are there particular ones, because we
I
can
don't have that
duplicate them
information
very quickly.
Yeah.
Sorry, are you based in Wales?
No, that's
sorry.
my Scottish accent in Northern Ireland.
I'm sorry, I should be able to pick that up.
Yeah, no, I have a Scottish accent. I'm in Northern Ireland, so I don't have information about which ones it is in particular. I think it's just the thought of not being able to use something that they've previously relied on. So
yeah,
if there is something
a
I can
little bit of resistance to change, isn't there? You know, with any software. But frankly, you know, I think if anything, Charlie was understating the case. You know, the resources that are in our library are really, really well thought out from a pedagogical point of view. They've all been designed by British teachers. And we looked at a lot of the Seesaw ones, very American, and really, you know, some of them quite inappropriate, not well designed. But we'd love to, as Charlie said, if you know if there are particular schools. Is it one particular school, or is it a group of schools?
I would be in Bangor in Northern Ireland, so yeah, it's just my particular school. Yeah, just me.
So you know, if those that are using those resources want to contact us or tell us what those resources are, we'll probably, to be honest, develop exactly the same ones in a flash. You know that.
Yeah, I know we were in the same position as you. It was just trying to get the girls, I suppose, to come away from what they were completely used to, and we started with just trying to use some of the library resources within class. And then from that, I just contacted the ed team and asked them, saying, "Oh, they're doing sounds and this phonics, and this isn't exactly what we want. Could you make something around it?" And it was great. I suppose it's just that fear of changing over, but
change the unknown. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. For us, it was why are we using the platform as a whole? When we're not using it in classes teaching wise. So then that's kind of where we slowly made the change.
Yeah. No, it makes a lot more sense for me to have something that is organized and populated by C2K and has like safety guarantees of that, rather than me doing it myself, putting all these kids' details in. It just makes more sense to use Just2Easy.
It's a lot less time consuming, definitely. It's great having the children's just transfer over from Sims and it's all there for you. It really is. It's great. And then having that progression too from nursery right up. Where we were the same as you, where we were changing from Seesaw onto a new platform whenever they got to primary 4, and it was like, oh, what now? Nearly, they're learning a new program, whereas within this, all the progression opportunities were there for them. So yeah, it is. It's just that first step of getting over the line.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Sorry for sticking my head up above.
No, pleasure to chat. Lovely to chat.
You.
Okay, have we got any more questions? Let's have a little look. Yeah, very welcome. I think that's about everything. So thank you very much for joining us again. Please do get in touch if you have any further questions, and otherwise we look forward to working with you soon. Thanks, everyone.